be king.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen. It's an amazing piece, and you get one chance at it, you know, I mean, and then it's going to be down on film, and that's it. So I just tried to be as well prepared as I could be going into it, and like on every job then, as Justin was saying, you know, each day you just try and make sure that you've uncovered all the stones and not left anything sort of wanting at the end of the day, as much as you can, to have that philosophy every day.
The research that I kind of did was heavily based on, I guess, the real Macbeth and, you know, kind of the times in the 11th century and what that was, and I guess how kind of brutal that landscape and world was. And it reminded me a lot of a Western. It reminded me kind of, I don't know, a landscape and an atmosphere that felt much more dangerous than probably what I'd seen in sort of past productions of Macbeth. And then I guess the kind of shadow of war and being able to bring that to screen cinematically, and how Macbeth responds to war or is a product of war, and how that then plays into his ambitions to become king.
If we should fail.
We'll not fail.
I think everything we approached with simplicity. You know, I don't think we ever tried to work against the verse.
No.
Or to sort of disregard the verse. We just tried to keep everything simple and tangible, and you know, the idea that, you know, Justin had from the beginning was a lot more intimate, perhaps, with the text than maybe some of the more traditional examples would be. But it was always to be just, you know, truthful to the text, really, as any script you would approach. But of course, you know, this is Shakespeare. It's pretty amazing writing.
There's something about Macbeth where it's characters manipulating each other that, I mean, at times I was kind of, you know, watching the verse between Marion and Michael, and also I think Michael and Paddy, that feels kind of like a scene out of Goodfellas. You know, it's kind of characters trying to, you know, manipulate each other in a very, very clever and conniving way. And there's a sort of subtext to all that is unspoken. And it's really interesting in Macbeth, in that there is a kind of secrecy and a kind of tension that kind of happens within the verse that is almost conversational, as opposed to, you know, the kind of artifice of speaking your thoughts continuously. And I think that's very unique to the writing of Macbeth, and why I think it stands out from many of Shakespeare's other plays.
I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. Justin, I think, sort of discovered very early on that we were going to treat Macbeth as a character who was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And so already he's having hallucinations, and there's a certain element of psychosis there, which runs right through to the banquet scene where, you know, he says himself, you know, if anybody knows me, they know that I have these sort of strange fits. So that obviously was something that was part of the man before we come to him in the play. And I thought that was a really helpful key into finding him, you know, and finding that sort of what is reality and what's in his head.
I've thought about it, you know, quite a long time watching the play over the years, the idea of two characters trying to fill a void and trying to fill a kind of hole, and whether that's inspired by grief or trauma or whatever, that the idea that the prophecy and the ambition of it is somehow a way of replacing a kind of tragedy. So the sense of Macbeth obviously being a kind of weary soldier suffering from, or the suggestions of kind of post-trauma, we're also kind of suggesting a loss within their lives in terms of potentially a child. That became kind of really interesting in terms of somehow the prophecy and the killing of the king are liberating these two characters in terms of them being able to move forward as people and also as a couple.
Macbeth shall never vanquished be.
There's an awareness, you know, because like once you start like a line like, is this a dagger I see before me? It's hard not to hear all the other actors, all the other times that I've seen it sort of come up and sort of be there in your sort of, you know, internal radio or whatever's going on. So trying to find, you know, some sort of freshness, I suppose, is inevitable, but then also not to dwell on it too much because, you know, the line then doesn't have to sort of become a labored line, you know, it has to sort of just be like any of the other lines, but it is that recognizable line. So it's all those things, you know, trying to get to a place where you can enjoy it and allow it to sort of dictate to you rather than you trying to sort of necessarily impose anything on it.
That was a really deliberate thing to shoot a lot of this stuff outside. I mean, I'm doing ADR today, and the challenges of kind of post-sound when you're shooting in environments where you're getting gusts of wind that are blowing off your set, you know, and at the same time Michael's trying to do some very famous verse. You know, there's some pretty serious challenges in that, but what it brings is a kind of groundedness and a reality and a sense of the landscape being connected to the words and to the performance, which I think, you know, you can really feel in the film, is, I guess kind of gives it a, I don't know, an earthiness that I think is quite unique to the verse, but also to the storytelling.
From rehearsal period on, his insight into the piece and the clearness of what we were looking for in each scene, in each section, really helped so much and brought a real clarity to each beat and each section that we were approaching in a way that I couldn't, you know, I was kind of in the fog with a lot of it.
Full of scorpions is my mind.
You can feel the effort, hopefully, in the film, and you can feel how the landscape plays an integral role, because I think nature is a huge element in Macbeth. I think that the idea that there is the possibility of spirits and the possibility that the landscape is so much greater than we could ever be, and that somehow it kind of orientates and dictates the human spirit and destiny. I think, which is what's playing in the play so much, to be able to put that on screen and have a kind of dialogue with that is amazing.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts. Hail King that shall be.
It was just great to see him on set because I was like, there is somebody doing what they were put here to do. And you know, I just felt a great trust in him. And that's the essential thing that an actor needs to feel coming to work each day, is a trust to be able to go to places and to look, you know, to make a fool of yourself and to, you know, feel like you're in a safe place to do that and somebody who's keeping an eye out for you. And I know Marion felt exactly the same.
I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't Michael. I mean, Michael was kind of really kind of part of the whole reason to do it. You know, I'd met Michael after I'd finished my first film, and he's someone, you know, I think he's you'll get embarrassed, but I do think he's one of the greatest actors of his generation by far. You know, and he was an artist that I desperately kind of wanted to collaborate with. So, you know, when Ian brought me the script and said, you know, Macbeth, and I was like, well, you know, yeah. And then he said, you know, with Michael, and I was just like, yes.
This is the very painting of your fear.
Full of scorpions is my mind.
What's done is done.
gods stepped in so far